branding content generation, it's not easy, especially if you pay attention to the reach and engagement of your content. The art of storytelling, that's a powerful tool for any business trying to create compelling employer branding content. Storytelling allows employers to communicate their brand values in a relatable and engaging way, making it easier for your target audiences to connect with you on an emotional level. That's important. Whether through a video or a written content or even podcast like this one, employers can use storytelling to showcase the unique aspects of their organization and what makes them special. Now, through stories, they can emphasize the company culture, values, mission statement, purpose, employee experiences, and more, all while ensuring that they remain authentic to their audience and employees. Now, stories don't have to be overly complicated or lengthy either. Just think about the key points that you want to convey and try to keep it as short and sweet as you can. In this episode of the Building a Modern Employer Brand podcast, I'm sharing with you a love of mine, the art of storytelling, and how to use it in your employer branding content. Now, storytelling can help employers create content that is both compelling and memorable, allowing them to engage with their target audience in a much more meaningful way. When done correctly, storytelling can help us employers to differentiate ourselves from our competition and better communicate the value that we bring to our potential current and future employees. And this will significantly help you to grow your employer pulling power, as I say, the attractiveness, and of course also improve retention. Now, if you're new to this podcast, my name is Susanna Rantanen, and I'm a seasoned strategic employer branding expert, executive level advisor, and a content and social media marketing coach for professionals struggling with winning and keeping talents the business needs to succeed. That's right. Now, the art of storytelling, that's a powerful tool for businesses to utilize in your employer branding content. Not only does storytelling help to capture the attention of potential employees, but it also allows you to showcase many essential aspects of what makes talents decide whether they choose and keep choosing your company as their place of work. At my employer branding agency, Emina, we extensively apply storytelling in our own marketing, but also in our clients' employer branding content. And over the years, we have noticed story content to be super valuable also internally, especially for organizations that are going through changes and transformation. So it's not just useful for external employer branding and attracting talents to your recruitment funnel, but for internal employer branding as well. Now, storytelling provides this excellent opportunity to differentiate yourself from other companies that you are competing for the same talent, emphasizing elements like your company's purpose and mission and values and company culture and employee experiences. And all of these are essential assets when creating a successful brand. Now, crafting stories for your employer branding content, it starts with your employer brand communication strategy. Your employer brand story needs to resonate with your target audience. So it's vital for you to remember the role reversal that I've spoken about so many times. Talent is the hero in your employer branding stories. What this means is that you must avoid telling stories about your company's history, your own achievements, and your accolades, because your talent audience cannot identify with those. Instead, find the stories of your existing employees because your future employees need to be able to identify with them. Having a sound communication strategy for your employer brand will help you correctly pick your brand content ideas. So again, I advise you to start with an employer brand communication strategy. In storytelling, planning the narrative so that your target audience can position themselves in the hero's role is important. And as said, it's the best way to achieve this is to position your company as a relatable employer and position a relatable employee already working for you in the hero's role in your employer branding story. This way, your target audience can become inspired by the ways the hero in the story, that your chosen employee example, has been able to grow in your organization, supported by your leadership culture, values, ways of work. Pay attention to this. Storytelling means not focusing your employer branding content stories on your company, but using your employees' stories as a frame for your target audience to place themselves into. The magnetic employer branding method that I've developed reminds us that it's not about you, it's about them. I want to share with you 3 examples of how to change your existing employer branding content into storytelling for employer branding. And the number 1 example is career stories, because we all know about career stories. And career stories are maybe the type of content that you can get resources with the most easiest. But career stories, I find them quite boring, and I'm sure that I'm not alone. So to be frank, and you do deserve me to be frank with you, the common career story is like a CV, not even storyfied, a CV talk through, I guess. There's nothing exciting about it to anyone else but maybe the person whose CV we are talking about. Another common version of a career story is actually not even a career story, but a role description written out in a blog post. Again, not compelling and not helping me as your target audience member to imagine myself in that same seat. The good thing is that these are usually short, making the suffering of reading them quick. But in the shortness comes another problem. They communicate very little information and lack the required descriptiveness that enables the reader to imagine themselves in that situation. One of my favorite tools is the Hero's Career Story that I've developed, and we use that writing career stories for our clients. And this framework removes these common problems with career stories because it offers the reader a narrative that helps them imagine how their career development and life could look like if they were to join your organization. The Hero's Career Stories are strategically planned to resonate with your specific target audience members. And with help of using talent personas, you can plan the types of heroes' career stories your employer branding needs. Then find the actual employees that are matching your story needs. And this way, your career stories are not identical and repetitive, but versatile, compelling, and matched with your desired employer brand perception. I have planned for a live online training with Q&A for this topic. So if I get enough people interested to join that live online training, then I need you to hit me up with a DM or email me at susanna@emine.fi. That's SUSANNA@EMINE.fi. If you're interested in receiving information about this live training about storytelling in employer branding. Now, I'm only going to do it if I get enough people to join it. So you need to tell me if you're going to join it or not. Otherwise, I won't have it. Okay, number 2 example, alumni career stories is another great example of content that works really well in a narrative format. And these are very similar to Hero's career stories, but the purpose differs. So when the Hero's career story is about an existing employee, and pinpoints how you, as their employer, are helping them to develop their career and build a better life while employed by you, the alumni career story takes a different angle. It helps your target audience to imagine the career opportunities and the better life the former employee achieved as a result of what they learned and experienced while employed by you. So it's kind of like the story after. So the idea is to cast a vision even longer to the future than just today. And this works really well in cases where your ways of work, your leadership examples and values enable them to progress in their career to places they perhaps were not ready and even considering yet while working with you. But they took those learnings and used them to their advantage a little bit later in life. I most love hear stories where your purpose-driven culture and leadership values enable them to carry that forward to new experiences and places in life, and even replicate those good values and good ways of work forward for other employees and colleagues in their career. The third example is called narrative social media posts. So this is another great way to apply storytelling in employer branding content. And these are short social media posts. The structure is always the same. You just fill in the gaps. This is what I learned from Donald Miller, who used to teach storytelling. Now, the post moves the reader forward in this order. You start with identifying the problem of the reader. So you need to really know your target audience because you need to know what kind of problems they might be having. And this acts as the hook, capturing attention. The post will only hook people who can identify with this problem. And then it moves forward where you kind of make the problem worse. It's not big enough a problem if you can't really emphasize it. So kind of like, oh goodness, I'm really struggling with this, or that this is such a huge problem. Just like those awful traditional career stories, they are a pain to your employer brand appeal, and you should not do traditional career stories. They kill desire to come work in your company. Okay, then the post moves forward to you explaining how you can help solve this problem. Now, this is a very concrete proposal of how to get rid of that problem. Join my live training and I'll give you the framework how to fix your career stories. That's a concrete proposal how to get rid of your problem of, writing awful traditional career stories. Then talk about what life looks like after the problem is gone. Your career stories are actually growing your employer brand demand, your reach, and getting people in your target audience engaged with your employer brand. Your employees get a voice and truly advocate you as their employer. You can prove your boss investing in employer branding content makes sense. You earn their trust, and in their eyes, your professionalism as an employer branding professional just grows. And then you end the post with the CTA, that's call to action. What do you want them to do after that they have read your post? I would say, DM me if you are interested in learning more about this upcoming live training, and I will send you more information. That's the call to action. What call to action would you use? Now, the art of storytelling, it lies in its ability to draw people into a narrative and make them part of it. When crafting stories for your employer brand, you need to focus on compelling and relatable characters that your target audience can connect with. Paint vivid pictures through details and descriptions that bring those stories to life. That's the problem of very short content, that it lacks those details, those important details and descriptions that help the reader to paint that like a vivid picture in their minds. And through this process, you'll be able to create a narrative that will appeal to your target audience and leave this enduring impression on them. Another critical element of compelling storytelling is aligning your content with your employer brand values and desired employer brand perceptions. How do you want your target audience to perceive you as their employer of choice? Now, this will help you in two ways. Number one, establish trust with potential candidates and let them know exactly what they can expect from working for you. And number 2, differentiate you from your competition. It's really important. You do not want to be seen, felt, or heard like your biggest competition for the same talent. No. You want to be completely unique. Now, to do this, highlight the unique aspects of working at your company while conveying how these fit into the bigger picture of achieving the big business success and delivering the customer promise with great success. Now, ultimately, harnessing the power of storytelling, you can create content that is both engaging and informative for potential job seekers and your existing employees. Doing so will help you build strong relationships with your current employees, as well as reach out to those new ones in an authentic way. So why not try storytelling if you're looking for creative ways to boost your employer branding content? Stories are effective ways of connecting with an audience on an emotional level, which is key when it comes to recruiting new talents into your organization. Now, employer branding content, it's an important part of any business's marketing strategy. Storytelling is definitely an effective way to engage and attract potential candidates. Storytelling is about building this narrative around a product or a brand, weaving together the facts and the values and the emotions that draw those people in. And as it relates to employer branding content, stories can help connect your organization and job seekers by communicating in a kind of descriptive and vivid way the company's culture, how it feels to work in this organization that has this culture, these values, this purpose, this mission, these people, these leaders, these customers, and so on. How your work impacts your customers. Now, storytelling benefits using this kind of an imaginary voice, matching any images used in the content with the words. The power of storytelling the power comes from when you're able to kind of help the reader to transport into these different scenes so that they can better understand what it's like to work at your organization. And you can also use stories to show how successful employees have grown and developed as people, as professionals. The goal is to make your content feel more personal and relatable to the target audience, because you want them to be able to imagine themselves in your organization, living and building a career as a character in your employer branding content. Now, I guess you want to know how to get started with storytelling, employer branding content. I would say that to ensure that your storytelling efforts are successful when creating employer branding content, you need to start by asking yourself and hopefully also other people in your organization, what makes your organization unique? What do you stand for? What are the desired employer brand perceptions your employer brand stories need to convey? It doesn't hurt you to do some sort of digging down and research your, your 3, 4, top 5 biggest competitors and sort of study how they talk about themselves. What makes them unique. Starting cold turkey with storytelling, it will be difficult unless you have a plan. As you are meant to build the employer brand, your storytelling content must match your other content key messages and help deliver the employer brand value expected from this work. I think the employer branding method does provide you with a sturdy plan for creating your employer branding content that aligns with your employer branding vision, your goals, desired employer brand perceptions, KPIs, and so on. So I guess I would want to say that if you need a really good employer branding agency partner or a really good employer branding coach, then contact me. Because I have to say that, like in all content creation, also in applying storytelling and employer branding, it all gets so much easier when you have a clear plan. All right. What are your thoughts about storytelling and employer branding? Let me know. As said, low barrier. Contact me on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. I don't use X, the former Twitter, at this time, so don't try to contact me through that. All right, that's all for this week, my friends. So stay tuned for more insightful episodes on mastering the employer branding edge. If you found this podcast valuable, I would really appreciate for you to tell so. So please subscribe, leave a review, share with your network, give me feedback on socials, and find this and all the previous episodes on my Building a Modern Employer Brand podcast website, www.modernemployerbrand.com. My name is Susanna. I'm your guide to building the modern and magnetic employer brand. Until next week. Moi moi.